I'm pregnant with CEO John's child. 3 months ago during a business negotiation, we both got drunk. I don't know how it happened, maybe the atmosphere was too perfect. Maybe it was simple drunken recklessness. Regardless, we ended up sleeping together. When we woke up, the awkwardness was palpable. John and I aren't just boss and employee, we've been friends since high school. We attended the same university. And after graduation, when he took over the family business, I pursued my master's degree. The year I graduated, he personally invited me to become his executive assistant. Back then, he was struggling to establish authority in the Wilson family's PR empire, surrounded by assistants who either wanted to sleep with him or acted as spies for his uncles. After cycling through several unreliable assistants, I agreed to help. Now this. Not only does it complicate our professional relationship, but it threatens our entire friendship. I remember sitting up in bed clutching the sheets, forcing calm into my voice as I said, "This was just an accident. We've worked too well together for too many years to let this ruin everything." After the initial awkwardness faded, we silently agreed to never mention it again. Thank God we were both too drunk to remember details. This should have remained our secret until the pregnancy test came back positive. After 3 days of deliberation, I decided to quit. John was flipping through quarterly reports without looking up, criticizing every department. His bad mood practically radiated heat waves. Smart people don't poke bears. So I stood quietly like a quail awaiting slaughter. Predictably, his ire soon turned to me. "You're my chief assistant," he snapped, slapping the reports down. "I pay you a small fortune every month. And this is the quality you deliver?" The injustice burned. Why yell at me about other departments' reports? God knows this job deserves every penny. John's nitpicky and demanding, a nightmare to work for. Beyond standard executive duties, I monitor company politics, handle stubborn board members, and manage his obsessive-compulsive tendencies. His no outsiders in personal life rule means I also coordinate his rotating cast of girlfriends. Monthly, I endure coffee shop meetings where women sob about loving him or throw drinks in my face. I've perfected calmly wiping coffee stains while sliding over checks. Feel free to tear this up too. Though PR never reissues damaged checks, my phone stays on 24/7/365. So yes, the paycheck is earned. Remembering these indignities, I sighed heavily. John finally looked up from his reports. "Why are you still standing here like a statue? Didn't get enough scolding?" Clenching my fists, I thought, "I'm resigning. Time to be bold." But under his laser gaze, my courage deflated. I want to resign," I squeaked. The report hit his desk with a crack. Leaning back, he studied me before demanding, "Why?" I scuffed my shoe on the carpet. "I need a break." He snorted. "Take a month, no, 20 days. Closing my eyes, I blurted, "John, I'm pregnant." His pen clattered off the mahogany desk. Pale and shell-shocked, he finally croaked, "What?" Then realization dawned. 3 months ago. I watched his face cycle through emotions before settling on fury. "When did you find out?" He gritted. 3 days ago. My doctor's appointment." His eyes narrowed. "Resign? What's next? Some cliché runaway pregnancy like those CEO novels?" Color me shocked. He knows romance tropes. But realistically, disappearing with a Wilson heir would be suicide. If I tried, there'd be no reconciliation or tearful reunions, just John skinning me alive. Deceit isn't an option here. Freshman year taught me that. Back in student council, a senior exploited me for free labor and meals. When I finally complained to John, I used to be timid, never daring to fight back until John found out somehow. That day he'd probably just come from basketball practice, still holding the ball. He didn't subscribe to that gentlemen don't hit girls nonsense. The The basketball whizzed past the senior girl's ear before slamming into the empty court behind her. Pointing at trembling me, he barked at the terrified senior. "She's under my protection. Got it?" As the girl nodded with ashen face, my eyes welled up with grateful tears. Before I could hug his leg in thanks, he stormed over looking fiercer than when he'd thrown that ball. Poking my forehead hard, he roared, "Are you an idiot? Taking abuse lying down? Even if you're scared, you come tell me. What could possibly need hiding from me?" What indeed? After that day, I kept only one secret from him. Honestly, discovering my pregnancy had weighed on me for weeks. Now that I'd dumped this bombshell on him, relief flooded through me. Slumping into the conference chair, I unwrapped a snack cake while watching him pace like a caged animal. The crinkling wrapper interrupted his brooding. He shot me an irritated glance. Mouth full of pastry. I patted my stomach unapologetically. "I'm eating for 3 now." He choked back whatever retort came to mind. Seeing Mr. Perfect flustered sent giddy bubbles through me. So this was how those imperial concubines felt using pregnancy for leverage. After years of being the underdog, I finally held the reins. Though how long this power trip would last. John took me for another hospital visit. Last time I'd been too distracted to focus. Now we sat shoulder to shoulder staring at the ultrasound screen like country bumpkins gaping at M&Ms. The doctor pointed. "Fraternal twins. 3 months along. Developing perfectly. Twins." I glanced sideways. John's thick lashes cast shadows as he studied the grainy images. Jaw clenched tight. The drive back passed in heavy silence. My fingers brushed the tacky Lucky knot hanging from his Lamborghini's rearview mirror, the same one I'd clumsily braided junior year. Back then, every dorm reeked of knitting wool and lovesick pheromones. When I'd complained about being the only single girl during our dinner date, he'd snorted. "Just make me something then. Like you'd ever wear homemade crap." I'd retorted. He'd rolled his eyes at our weird girl competitions. The ugly friendship bracelet eventually became his permanent car charm. Even through multiple vehicle upgrades, that eyesore stayed. Grew on me. He'd shrugged during his last Porsche purchase. Now parked outside my apartment. Tension crackled between us. His knuckles whitened on the steering wheel. After what seemed an eternity, he finally asked, "Your plans?" In that boardroom tone he used when unimpressed with proposals. John always played mental chess while others played checkers. Answer wrong, and you'd get that "why do I pay you" glare. Gulping like a student caught unprepared, I mumbled, "Scheduled termination next week." His index finger tapped rhythmically against leather. When the silence stretched unbearably, he sighed, "Go rest." 7 days later at his private clinic, we sat stiffly in the prep room. As the nurse called my name, John suddenly grabbed my wrist. "Keep them," he blurted. "We don't need marriage. I'll provide everything for you and the children." The control freak actually said your decision matters. I ripped off the hospital gown instantly. "Deal. You take 1 kid. I'll take the other. No custody battles. No gold-digging suspicions. Hell, mine won't even know you exist." My breezy acceptance made him narrow his eyes. "This feels off. Too late. Every modern woman's fantasy, right? Skip the husband. Keep the baby. Better yet, babies. Let the billionaire handle diapers and trust funds while I enjoy the fun parts. Game on." John has great genes and a high IQ, so our future children will undoubtedly be top-notch. I'm thoroughly satisfied. I never expected John to remember my long-standing stance against marriage. Back in senior year of college, I got dumped by a 2-month boyfriend who even stole all my scholarship money, total emotional and financial devastation. John was going through his own mess then. He'd been dating the English department's golden girl. The only woman I've ever seen him genuinely fall for in all these years. She had this ethereal, Classical beauty, always dressed in flowing linen dresses. Speaking in soft melodic tones like she stepped out of a Renaissance painting. He treated her with such reverence. Even holding her hand felt like trespassing to him. Young love burns bright and true. Before he became the sarcastic, nitpicking, arrogant man he is today. Fresh out of graduation, he rushed to introduce her to his older brother Michael. That man's a force of nature. 2 days after their meeting, Michael sent John a dossier, photos of her in bodycon dresses grinding with strangers at clubs, plus a signed sugar daddy contract. Michael's first lesson: always do your homework before playing the fool. Our circle's trust fund babies never let him live it down. John played it cool publicly, but I was there when he cracked open beer cans on the football field. Eyes bloodshot, asking how could this happen? I wanted to ask the same. How could that delicate, well-mannered girl be club hopping in barely their outfits? Then again, I got scammed by a bespectacled sensitive artist. Never judge by appearances. 2 heartbroken souls split a case of Bud Light that night, clinking bottles violently. I vowed I'll never trust men again. Screw romance, I'm gonna die a rich single lady. Fast forward, I became an overworked corporate drone teetering on burnout, while he evolved into that aloof CEO with models throwing themselves at him. Only through years of cleaning up his romantic messes did I realize my vision was too narrow. Though his revolving door of women included every type imaginable, I never saw another English major archetype. Some wounds cut deep. But enough reminiscing, our current arrangement takes priority. After signing that co-parenting contract, we've entered strict business partner mode. When I announced my sabbatical, my team clung to my legs wailing. "There will miss you," quickly turned to probing questions about how I convinced John the taskmaster to approve extended leave. Straight-faced, I answered seduction. They groaned. Everyone assumes I'd be the one taking advantage if anything happened between us. Bafflingly, while John's name gets linked to countless women, ours remains scandal-free. When I asked colleagues why, they snorted without looking up. "Don't be ridiculous, Ivy." Excuse me? Who stood by him through every PR crisis since his internship days? Who pulled all-nighters drafting campaigns? Who shielded him from the board's vultures? Me. All me. Even John occasionally says, "Ivy, you're the brother I never had." Fine, just wish this brother would stop calling me at 3 a.m. to unclog his shower drain from some model's hair extensions. Our friendship began oddly. In high school physics class, this chubby girl, me, got seated next to the star quarterback, him. Every time he needed to pass, it was "move it, Butterball." Cruel? Sure. But challenging the school's golden boy wasn't an option for timid, overweight me. The breaking point came during gym class sit-ups. After effortlessly completing his set, John held my ankles while I struggled through 3 pathetic attempts. As I flopped like a beached seal, some jerk yelled, "She's a total whale." Humiliation burned through me as tears fell. Through blurry vision, I saw John snap upright. Who said that? The snickers died. When he resumed holding my legs, his grip stayed loose. Between whispered counts, I managed 10 shaky sit-ups. That moment changed everything. From then on, when he needed help with English essays, I became his secret weapon. By graduation, I'd transformed into his sharp-tongued right hand. Now when he says "move it, Ivy," it's just our dark humor, 2 survivors who crawled from teenage ashes to corporate royalty together. Our current baby-making partnership? Just another chapter in this wild ride. Let the board whisper. They'll never understand this bond forged through clogged drains and corporate takeovers. 3, 7, 8, 12, 14, 18, 23, 30. Okay. That's enough. Passing grade. Back then I thought, what a decent guy. I swore I'd never secretly curse him in my mind again. We really became close during senior year when he skipped class during a physics pop quiz. I wrestled with my conscience before finally filling out his answer sheet and submitting it. When the strict teacher started checking attendance, I whispered to John later, "Don't worry. I turned yours in." The guy who feared nothing except his brother Michael's parental meetings just grinned and nudged me with his elbow. "Thanks. Chubby." "I'm not chubby. I'm Ivy," I corrected sternly. His laughter bubbled louder. "All right. Thanks, flower girl. Whatever. Not worth arguing." By graduation season, when I asked about college plans, he declared without humility, obviously the top school. Pinching my cheek, he added, "Work harder. Flower girl. Get into my university so you can keep doing my homework." Fat chance. I studied like crazy, shedding 35 pounds before exams. When acceptance letters came, his call made me groan, "Not bad. Flower girl. Ready for more homework help?" John always said I was easy to be around. Probably because I didn't put on airs. While other girls nibbled salads around him, I'd devour whole plates of chicken wings in his face. "You're the most comfortable company," he'd often remark. Our brotherhood worked because we stayed relaxed. If you'd told us last year we'd end up having kids together, we'd have sent you straight to the psych ward. The whole pregnancy thing felt surreal at first. 3 months in with twins, I barely showed except for slight weight gain. We both kept forgetting until that kitchen incident. John stormed in after work one day, collapsing on the couch. "Where's the fruit? And make me ribs." Mid-cooking, the overhead light died. Standing on a chair to replace the bulb, I startled when his shadow appeared. The fall happened fast, his arms catching me, our panicked eyes meeting over my cramping stomach. "I just remembered," I said calmly. "I'm pregnant." "Right." He agreed, equally composed. Watching him fumble with the bulb in his crisp white shirt, I almost laughed. The physics couldn't handle basic wiring. "Move into my place," he finally grumbled. "This dump's a death trap." I pretended to hesitate. "But what if your dates see me?" His eye twitched. "There won't be any." "Deal," I chirped, packing before he finished speaking. The penthouse life suited us. By month 5, my belly ballooned alongside bottomless cravings. John started eyeing me like a prize hog at county fair. When the first kicks came at 3 a.m., I burst into his unlocked room shaking him awake. "John, they're moving. The babies are moving." John worked on official business until 1 a.m. before falling asleep. When I woke him, his disheveled hair stuck up in messy tufts as he glared at me with groggy irritation. "This better be important," he growled through gritted teeth, his notorious morning temper flaring. Ignoring his mood, I grabbed his hand and pressed it against my swollen belly. "Can you feel that?" The twins chose that exact moment to deliver a powerful kick. John's sleep rumpled face transformed into something wondrously foolish. We stared at each other in breathless amazement before bursting into simultaneous laughter that gradually tapered into awkward silence. The amber glow of sunset-style bedside lighting cast intimate shadows across our faces. His palm remained warm against my stomach as we leaned unconsciously closer. I'd never seen this childlike vulnerability in him before, the way his lingering smile softened the sharp angles of his face, the quiet huff of his breath mingling with mine. My throat tightened inexplicably. I should let you sleep," I stammered, scrambling off the bed. "Right, yeah," he mumbled into the comforter, looking equally flustered. Burrowing under my own blankets later, I poked my belly in mock reprimand. "Behave for mommy, you little troublemakers." As my pregnancy progressed, an unsettling realization dawned. I'd grown disturbingly dependent on John. Our previous 24/7 work partnership had desensitized me to his constant presence. Now home alone, I caught myself watching clocks, anticipating his return like some pathetic houseplant turning towards sunlight. The hospital encounter with Hannah crystallized my anxieties. There they stood, John's tailored suit complementing her curve-hugging black dress as they descended the escalator like runway models. Time had only amplified her beauty. The cascade of dark curls framing features that still made bystanders do double takes. "Good girl for waiting," John mouthed when he spotted me. Hannah's feline gaze swept from my face to my prominent bump, her painted lips curling in disdain before transforming into a dazzling smile for John. "We'll talk later," she purred before strutting away. That night, memories of college flooded back, me clutching a clumsily braided good luck charm outside his dorm, watching him return hand in hand with Hannah. My unspoken confession died that evening, along with my teenage self who'd starved off 35 pounds and memorized his every offhand remark about dream universities. "John's definitely seeing someone," my former assistant Mina gossiped during our call. "Hope walked in on him video chatting some woman last week. She was demanding takeout from West Garden. Can you believe it?" I hung up guiltily. The other woman ordering around Manhattan's most eligible bachelor? That would be me and my pregnancy cravings. My 6th month brought relentless nausea. The nutritionist clucked disapprovingly as I gagged down steamed greens. "You must eat for the babies." John's calm intervention surprised us both. "Did I hire you to torture my—" He caught himself, shooting me an unreadable look. "To force feed my business partner?" That night, cravings struck with vicious intensity. West Garden's legendary Asabuco haunted me, the same exclusive spot where John once booked anniversary dinners for transient girlfriends. Now here I lay, demanding their $500 tasting menu via midnight video call while he reviewed contracts. The man who broke up with lovers before their birthdays now kept emergency macarons in his briefcase. The workaholic who slept at the office now rushed home for ultrasound appointments. Every contradiction made my treacherous heart hope and fear. At the time, John was abroad, determined not to let the expensive reservation go to waste. He made me attend the gala dinner alone. The portions were laughably small, I finished everything yet remained hungry. The bill made my eyes water, though thankfully it wasn't my credit card taking the hit. The food hadn't impressed me initially, but that night, an inexplicable craving hit. I called John. He returned within the hour bearing takeout from West Garden, a members-only private kitchen requiring 3-month advance reservations. Watching me devour the food, he asked with genuine concern, "Enough? Should I have their chef move into the guest house?" My obsession proved fleeting, pregnancy whims being what they are. John's patience reached unprecedented levels. 1:04 a.m. I became fixated on the crispy fried rice cakes from our college days. The ones coated in that signature chili glaze. Back then, John would sneak these treats to me after skipping class for gaming marathons, his sole redeeming habit. Now years post-graduation, John had just taken 2 connecting flights home and was battling jet lag. Our private chef's attempts fell short of memory's perfection. Hormones magnified the disappointment. I burst into tears over 5 failed culinary attempts. John emerged, sleep-deprived but alert. "What's happening?" he asked the nutritionist. Sniffling, I looked up. "Remember those rice cakes from campus?" He exhaled dramatically, grabbing his jacket with resigned fondness. "Let's go. We'll make it by lunch service." Our driver navigated hundreds of kilometers while John dozed against the window. We arrived at sunset as the vendor set up. The sizzling cakes triggered Pavlovian drooling. Clutching 3 skewers, I turned to find John slumped against the car door. Dark circles under closed eyes. Golden hour softened his sharp features into unexpected tenderness. Thump, thump, thump. My pulse drowned the bustling campus sounds. When his eyes opened, they bypassed the lively scene to lock onto me. "Want to hire the vendor too?" he teased. "Your son's craving." I deflected, biting into the perfect crunch of nostalgia. The familiar flavor carried unspoken yearnings, those fragile secret hopes one buries deep. "You look troubled," he noted. "What's wrong?" I shook my head. Some truths defy articulation. Later, as he splashed water on his face before returning to work. I studied him through the computer screen. Why this devotion? Pregnancy explained some, but not the decade-spanning exceptions he'd made for me since high school. Did he realize? Ivy. His sharp tone snapped me from reverie. Verification code. I grabbed his phone, pausing at an unsaved numbers text. John. It's Hannah. Remember me? His reply epitomized ruthless capitalist nature. Yes. Need business referrals? Hannah, 135-7986. Deep pockets. No peculiar demands. I collapsed laughing. You're a saint. I gasped between giggles. These rice cakes are divine. He eyed me suspiciously, anticipating new demands. Humph. Men. I met Michael at 8 months pregnant, waddling painfully during our remote control battle. He wanted educational programming. I insisted on Legends, the fantasy drama starring Oscar winner Ethan Stone and his wife Emma Sheen, PR's former global ambassador. Emma had retired post-marriage. When I'd first watched it, John made a face. Did you fancy Emma Sheen? I'd pressed about PR's long sponsorship. Initial investors pulled out when she was cast. He'd grumbled. My brother Michael covered the deficit through shell companies. Never told her. The bitterness puzzled me. He stopped there. But I immediately understood. Sheen sure was stunning. Always labeled as a porcelain doll. But her acting in this drama was surprisingly nuanced, probably thanks to her Oscar-winning husband's guidance. I'd worked with her years ago during a promotional shoot. Gentle and approachable. Who'd have guessed she once had a history with Michael? John's older brother? No wonder John forbade me from watching Legends. Those Wilson men and their fragile egos. Zeus entered first that day. We'd crossed paths professionally before. When I first became John's assistant, Michael had Zeus mentor me briefly. Later, we'd even shared hushed complaints about Michael over coffee. The man radiated intimidation, not from appearance. All Wilsons were blessed with model genes, but from sheer presence. After their parents' tragic accident, teenage Michael raised John while clawing back PR Group shares from vultures. By graduation, he'd tamed the board and built his own Wall Street empire. When John took over PR Group, Michael only checked in occasionally. Everyone feared Michael, John included. During John's early days as PR's COO, the old guard dismissed him. He'd show up at my college cafeteria reeking of whiskey, slurring, "When will I command respect like Michael?" Now he did. But Michael remained his gold standard. Zeus's gaze lingered on my swollen belly as she announced, "Mr. Wilson Sr. is arriving." Michael sat across from me in the living room, pregnancy privileges, while John stood like a schoolboy. We planned to co-parent without marriage. I stammered when pressed. Michael's expression hardened. Wilson children don't grow up in limbo. If unwed, you'll leave permanently after birth. PR isn't your place anymore. John stepped forward. Brother. The TV froze on a scene from Legends, Cheencher's character weeping. For a heartbeat, Michael's mask slipped, revealing something raw. Since when did kings of the world wear that look? Post-confrontation, John and I exchanged defeated glances. Useless. Can't even keep secrets from your brother. I snapped. His jaw twitched but he held back, pregnancy immunity. Delivery came early. Mid-peach bite. Contractions hit. John panicked like the one in labor while I finished my fruit. After grueling hours, the OB smiled. Congratulations, Mrs. Wilson, healthy twins. I passed out before correcting the title, waking to John's red-rimmed eyes. I grimaced at the wrinkled newborns. Why so ugly? They're perfect. He breathed, tracing tiny faces with trembling fingers. The ice prints melted, tears glistening. Since when did sharks cry? Someone's persona needed recalibrating. Hey, wake up. Stay calm. I eyed John warily as he pulled my hand to his chest with fragile determination. Like he'd rehearsed this moment countless times. "Ivy," he said, his voice steady yet vulnerable. "Let's get married." How could he just? Amber sunlight spilled through the windows, bathing the room in honeyed warmth. My weakened voice barely rose above the golden haze. "Is this how you propose?" He nodded, pressing my knuckles to his lips. "Will you?" I wanted to ask if he loved me. How could anyone marry without affection? But his mouth brushed my hand like a sacrament as he vowed. "Ivy, I'll devote my life to you and our child. Let's build a family together. Let's try." Maybe this was just John's impulsive reaction to fatherhood emotions. Yet his gaze held mine with terrifying focus, the dying light etching my reflection as the sole occupant of his world. That's when I surrendered. Our lifetime stretched long before us, maybe long enough for love to grow. Or more precisely, for him to learn loving me. Wasn't that achievable? Some chances only knock once. Seize the moment. Be bold. Rewrite endings. I nodded. Suddenly 17 again on that high school bleacher. PE class sunset glowing identical to this one. Him counting my sit-ups with sunlight haloing his frame. 3, 7, 8, 12, 14, 18, 23, 30. Done. You passed. This secret I've held on to for so long, how miraculously it's blooming into reality. Mrs. Wilson. I quite like my new name. Thank you all for the company. Your support fuels my passion for sharing these sweet romance stories. See you next time.